Aurora from iZotope is possibly the most practically useful reverb in the world. Once you start adding reverb to your tracks and your production, it's pretty easy to start getting carried away and just immerse yourself in the reverb.
It's driving me crazy.
The problem with going bananas on the reverb is that even though it sounds pretty cool in isolation, in the context of the whole song, it will suck. And the things that should really be cutting through your mix, like the snare and the vocal, just kind of get washed away in a murky wall of sound. So you might think the most logical thing to do in this case is to sacrifice your reverb for the sake of a more cohesive mix. And yeah, you could do that, but maybe you don't want to sacrifice the reverb. Maybe you can have your cake and eat it too. To be clear, if you like the sound of reverb, the goal should be to keep the intensity and vibe of the reverb as much as you can, whilst also making sure that the source sound doesn't lose its clarity. I recorded a little cover of a country song just to show you what I mean here. So what I'm going to do is isolate the vocal and create a send to a reverb track where I'm going to pull up Aurora.
Lovebirds in the row in front of me are driving me crazy.
Now, where this plugin really excels is with the unmask feature. The unmask feature will detect the input audio and shape the EQ of the reverb dynamically in a way that the original signal isn't muddied up by the reverb. What it's really doing is taming the reverb so that it doesn't conflict with the original audio. And if you want, you can even apply high and low cuts so that the unmask feature only applies on a particular area within the frequency spectrum. If we just increase the unmask effect slowly, you'll see just how much tidier the whole vocal starts to sound.
Lovebirds in the row in front of me are driving me crazy. Lovebirds in the row in front of me are driving me crazy.
Now, you can always EQ your reverbs the old school way, the Abbey Road trick, which is where you high pass, low pass, and create a notch at about 5K. But the reason that Aurora is so useful is it doesn't just create a static EQ curve, it dynamically responds to what's going on in any given moment. Meaning that if you're singing more intensely or less intensely from one syllable to the next, the unmask algorithm will change with your vocal. And it's not just useful for vocals, you can use this on anything. If it's detecting more mid-range frequencies from a snare drum, it can tame the reverb at those frequencies more intensively. And if it's detecting less, it just won't tame as much. So algorithmically, the unmask feature is the most sophisticated piece of technology because it kind of does all the work for you. It's subtle to the untrained ear, and if you're watching this on a smartphone, you're probably not going to hear much of a difference. But if you listen on good headphones or on monitors, the difference is massive. And in the context of the overall song, it's these icing on the cake techniques of production that can be the difference between an amateur song and a pro song.